SMT Nation, we back. Nation, we've got a big update out of Verizon. Looks like basically a U-turn, a complete backtrack on something that they were supposed to do that was planned. We broke the story back in February or March. I forget exactly when. But just as a placeholder, here's one of the articles that covered it. So the title, Verizon is raising prices on older cell phone plans. So basically, it's the legacy plans, right? So like what I have in my 2017 new Verizon Unlimited plan, those that may have had any version of the following unlimited plans that preceded those, and then maybe like the older unlimited plans from like 2005 and that era. Anyways, those plans were going to be incurring this additional charge. The date scheduled for that price increase was supposed to be April 10th, today at the time of this recording, and the way it was going to be assessed was each mobile phone line on those accounts with those legacy plans would incur a $2 per month plan rate adjustment. So I don't remember if it was anything to do with like smartwatches, tablets, iPads or anything like that. But I definitely do remember it 100% was associated with mobile phone lines. All right, so the $2 per line per month price increase. And then the fact that they're calling it the economic, what was it? The plan rate adjustment, economic adjustment fee rate. Remember that from last year. So this has been ongoing. All right. They've done it a couple different times. It hit business customers. It hit consumer customers. It's hit phones. It hit tablets. It hit connected devices, watches, everything. Now, why is Verizon backtracking? What does this mean? I think it's pretty simple and pretty clear. I think Verizon has decided against it because of the pushback that customers are giving Verizon. I think while the Verizon customer has been very traditionally resilient, and they've always been willing to pay more as long as the service was reliable and available, and they felt like they were getting what they were paying for. Once that starts to change, and customers will start looking elsewhere when they feel like they're not getting what they're paying for. So if customers have been leaving Verizon, it's probably because of that, right? They're viewing the cost to what they're getting as having a disconnect. When people feel like they're getting what they're paying for, why would they leave, right? Unless they can get the same quality of service for a better price. And that what I think is what's happening with respect to the churn rate that we saw be rather elevated for a duration of 2022. So how is Q1 going to look? And that's where I think this circles back to, right? Verizon has been nickel and diming their customers for the last year or so. In the process, they've said we've got to do this. We have no choice. It's, we're taking it on the chin when it comes to inflation, and you guys want this great network and all those things, and I get it. I totally understand. But if you look at Verizon total revenues last year, it's down compared to the year before. If you look at their profitability, it's down compared to the year before. And I think knowing how rough Q1s can be for Verizon, I think the Q1 is going to be extremely poor performing. I think it's going to be really bad. I think there's an indication that Q2, which is literally 10 days old, right, because it just started in April, is off to a horrible start. And they don't want to have a Q2 that looks and feels like Q1. Because that's something that you can typically present to investors is, hey, we usually don't have great Q1s. The investors understand this. They anticipate it. So they'll look at year over year and see if there's any difference. I think year over year, Q1, which we're going to get results on that here in a couple weeks, I think Q1 is going to be worse than last year's Q1. They were not very aggressive in promotions. The customer care still continues to be an issue. And, when it comes to competitive rates, Verizon has stayed pretty flat with that. So it's not like they've changed anything. Structure within retail has not made any type of changes yet. So the same issues still remain, even though they've changed consumer CEOs, business CEOs, CTOs and all this other stuff, and becoming business CEOs. But whatever. I think this is a strong indication of a weak, very weak Q1. And I think already off to a poor start less than 10 business days into Q2. And I think with the price increase and risking some pushback and some additional churn, it was going to wreak havoc from the investor angle. Like Verizon's trading, I think they trail the market by like 20%, right? So the investor's looking at this and saying, man, this is getting pretty hard to stomach. When's this turnaround? I mean, Hans, the CEO, and Verizon has said, expect a turnaround. They got rid of Manon in December of last year, got this new consumer CEO who came from the business CEO position, who they like very, very much internally at Verizon. And Hans, took the reins of consumer for a while. I think this is an indication of weakness. I think there is a very, very soft start to the Q2, which, of course, there's still a lot of time. If you've got four plus weeks in a quarter, or 4 plus weeks in a month, you got 3 months in a quarter. There's plenty of time for them to make it up. But I do think that they were risking some increased churn. And if the billing cycle on 4/10 was to incur this extra rate increase, then that means the churns may have hit pretty high in May. And the one important thing that I do want to mention is when I got the memo and I got the information, it doesn't indicate when they're going to reschedule this. Like there's no plan. There's no new date for when they're going to institute this. So for now, put it on the back burner. Verizon wanted to do a price increase, but it appears that they could not because of risk of pushback, I think. So just put it on the back burner. Maybe they do it in Q3. Maybe they do it in Q4. Maybe they do it at the end of Q2. I don't know. But at the very least, the language in the memo says that it has been postponed, which means it is still possible that we see it in the future. It's just not happening right now. So that's the news. That's the update. You also got a little bit of my take in there. I think weakness. I think soft quarter. I think trouble in Q1. I think a bad start to Q2. And Verizon, I think, wisely has put it on the back burner. Maybe they can look for other ways to try to streamline their processes to make up for operational costs, remain profitable, improve revenues. It's got to be a different way because they clearly understand that the consumer is price sensitive. I think this also indicates an economic downturn. I think, again, more weakness in the total macroeconomic landscape of the country. And I think, they understand that the customer is willing to churn and they're shopping. What do you guys think of all of this? What do you think of the announcement? What do you think of my take? I'd love to hear your take. Hit me in the comment section. You all the voice of the people, the SMT Nation. Let your voice be heard. Like, share, subscribe for more. Turn on the bell notification icon to never miss an upload. Links in the description for all things going on with the channel. Want to become a YouTube member? Hit the join button. You can get access to perks and exclusives not found anywhere else. You can also support us on Patreon and get those same benefits and more. That link in the description. And don't forget the Buy Me a Coffee link is there if you want to support the channel and support your creators directly. That's one way to do it, the Buy Me a Coffee link. And then also if you're looking for a really good deal on wireless, get a great value and excellent customer care from Mint Mobile. Use our partner link. You'll save money and you'll be helping out the channel in the process. Thanks for watching, folks. We shall see you all in the next one. Peace.